Hello everybody, just a quick message from me. Through all of your guys' support, we've managed to hit YouTube Partner. So if you enjoy the content below, why not consider becoming a legend and joining below? Thanks very much everybody. See you in the video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be my Cleric Masterclass guide. I'm just going to break this video up into a few different parts. We're going to talk about our perks. We're going to talk about our skills and spells. We're going to talk about our PvP potential. We're going to talk about our PvE potential. And then we're going to talk about solo viability. Okay, without further ado, let's start on perks. We're already on the screen, so let's start there. The perks that I'm running, now bear in mind, guys, this build I'm using as like, I think if you were in a party and you weren't playing solo, you'd probably want to run kindness instead of perseverance, because you're going to get more bang for your buck out of that. You're going to get more health back when you're pumping out heals to your teammates. But I use this because it's more of like, you know, as I say, my sort of solo class, or you're wanting to stand on your own, you know, be a bit tougher. But anyway, the perks that I'm using are Blunt Weapon Mastery, increase physical attack power by 5% when attacking with a blunt weapon. Advanced Healer, increase your base magic heal by 5. Perseverance, reduce all types of incoming damage by 3. And Brewmaster, you do not exhibit the detrimental drunk effect when you drink alcohol. Now, obviously, this perk is next level. If we just go over to the merchants and I go and have a look at the Tavern Master, there's a few different ales that you can choose from here. But the most expensive ale can give you 11 strength, but makes you drunk for 15 seconds. Obviously, as a cleric, we do not experience that drunk effect. But if I just go into a game quickly, right, pop my head into a game, and I show you. So strength is a great skill, right, because it improves the HP and the physical power of your character. So you can see that if we just have a look at my strength is 13 and my health is 96, right? So as a cleric, we can bless ourselves. That raises me from 96 to 102. And then we take a swig of our ale. And that takes us to 124 and 27 strength. Now, it goes without saying that you're incredibly strong when you use the bless and you drink the tankard, you know. As well, if you've got like blue gear, purple gear, and you're rocking that stuff as well. You're so strong. The Brewmaster perk is genuinely nuts. So let's go on to skills and spells. So the skills that I'm using rather are Smite and Spell Memory. Although, to be honest, obviously you want to run Spell Memory. That's not even a question. And then the second one is honestly up to you. I'm running Smite right now, but I've used all of them to success. You know, if I was to break it down as simply as I could, I would say that Holy Purification is a great PvE clearer, right? You can clear a bunch of mobs really quickly. It's very effective to do that. Judgment is a really good PvP option because it's very fast to cast. It gives you some range and it slows the target whilst dealing pretty hefty damage, not to mention that damage is increased when you bless yourself because you get extra will. So all in all, a very good option. Or Smite, which just adds 10 extra damage to your weapon, but it is instant cast. And the reason I use Smite is because I feel like it takes a few people off guard. You know, you have a sip of your alcohol, you stick bless on yourself, and then, you know, you smite just before you swing. And then your weapon is just hitting like an absolute truck. At least that's what it feels like to me. So that's the skills. Now let's talk about the spells. The spells that I'm running are Bless, Lesser Heal, Protection, Sanctuary, and Divine Strike. Obviously, I'm running these three because they're the sort of like the buff, you know, the buff abilities. They're going to increase your strength, give you a shield, increase your weapon damage, just make you stronger. So them 3 are sort of mandatory. Lesser heal because it's a great heal for yourself. You obviously, if you're not targeting anyone, it does heal you. So that's a quick little nice heal for yourself. And then the recently added Sanctuary, which is, it takes a little while to charge up the cast, but once it goes off, it synergizes with the perk Advanced Healer, because Sanctuary is obviously like, it takes time. It's like a ability that channels and takes, like, it goes over a few seconds, and each individual tick of the heal all is affected by Advanced Healer. So Advanced Healer is incredibly useful to have, especially when you're running it with the Sanctuary perk. So they're the spells that I would use. Okay, let's talk about PvP Potential. Now, I harp on a lot on this channel about how good the Cleric is and how amazing the Cleric is. And oh my god, there's no class that is as good as the Cleric. Unfortunately, that is just not the reality. Now, there is just nothing in this world that is going to prepare your character for, like, an absolutely cracked wizard. You know, let's face it, it's wizard, isn't it? Because the wizard is able to reposition themselves, make positional plays, disappear in an instant, and that is a complete and utter game changer. And so what I'm trying to say is, Cleric, under no means, is the strongest character in this game. It's not the strongest class in this game. Each class is very strong at doing a certain thing. You know, I would argue wizards are probably the best at solo PvP. Although, I've seen a few barbarians that would make me question that. Everyone is good at doing their own individual things, but Cleric is certainly not the best. Now, the PvP potential of this class, it is really good, but it's also very situational. Somebody in my comments said, you know, I don't know, man, it doesn't seem strong. Seems like you take 30 seconds to buff up, you know, only for like, you know, it's like a 15-second burst or whatever. And that is totally true. There are so many things that the Cleric is weak at, but it's not like you can't play to those things. Like, for example, if somebody is right on the other side of the door of you and you've only got a second to throw off a cast, then you can choose the cast that you send off, right? You know, depending on the person. Maybe it's a heal because you've just been in an engagement and you need to top up before the fight. Maybe it's a blast to give your character the edge when fighting, you know, your enemy. Maybe you're just casting a protection so you can survive a barbarian's one big blunder to your head, you know? So it is super situational. You can pick and choose what you cast when you cast it. But if you can find the moment and the opportunity where you hear somebody before they hear you and you can engage them, then you get the luxury of casting the bless, casting protection, casting divine strike, drinking your tankard, your ale, and then activating smite on your weapon and literally charging them down and, you know, 2-3 tapping them. Really cool and very satisfying to do that. And another key thing about the PvP in Cleric, the weapon that you start with, the magic staff, I'm sorry, but you need to just forget about that. In a situation like our dear viewer was mentioning before, in those moments where a door opens and there is just somebody right in front of you greeting you like, hello, you need to have a spell book in your hand so you can cast fast enough. Because if you don't, it's just the difference between casting from a staff to a book is like night and day. Sanctuary is way faster to pull off, so you can heal yourself quicker. Think about it as well, like those clutch lesser heals that you've got to chuck out really quickly just so you don't die. Or, you know, if you're charging a ranger and you're just throwing protection bubbles over yourself as they're shooting you, you know, and you're just charging straight at them, throwing protection bubbles. You can do that, so long as you have a book. If you don't and you have a staff, then it's just too long to cast these individual things, and it's like it'll get you chewed up pretty goddamn quick. So if and when you can, go over to the merchant, go over to the alchemist, look to see if they have a spell book. Looky here. There is indeed a spell book for me. So I'm going to get that one, and I'm going to get a default one as well. Bang. I'm going to stick them in my stash. So make sure that you're looking out for the spell books, and you can grab one if and when you can. PvE Potential. Okay, the PvE potential of this character is obviously S tier and the best. There is no character in this game better at PvE than the Cleric. We have perks for dealing with undead. We have spells for dealing with undead. We can buff ourselves, our team. We can protection our team, ourselves. We can do anything and everything, and the Cleric will always be S tier with the PvE potential. So if you've just started Dark and Darker and you're playing it with friends, Cleric is a great option. And then when you do run Cleric, run my build. So your friends think that you've got a build that is like all about protecting them, but actually it's just so you can be super strong yourself. Be a Chad solo Cleric. So regardless, it goes without saying, the PvE potential of this character is obviously, you know, very good. Not that it means much, but I did fight the cave troll with a couple of others, and as a Cleric, it was totally fine. So yes, PvE potential, S tier. Now, solo viability. Solo, as a solo Cleric, it's a difficult life, because just like the wizard, it's sort of hard when you start out. Easier than the wizard when you start out, but it's still hard in the sense that you're using the staff and there's certain things holding your back. Like a Cleric at level 1 compared to a Cleric at level 20 is so much better. You can do so much more, and you can survive so much more as well. And also, I feel like the Cleric is... it's a bit of hope for people when they start Dark and Darker, I find. Because, you know, you start the game, Dark and Darker. I can't be the only one. You start the game and you just die instantly, and you know you're playing Ranger, Rogue, you know, and you're like, yeah, man, this is I want to be a Rogue, and you die, and then you play and you die, and it's just like, oh, for God's sake. And then I played the Cleric, and obviously it gives you the access to being able to use a few basic heals, which can be like completely night and day when you've got nothing. You know, when you've got no heals, nothing. Having 4 lesser heals to throw on yourself is a huge deal. Not to mention, like I say, you can buff yourself. You can still be a strong character that plays, you know, can make outplaying moves, and you can still fight enemies toe-to-toe and it not be a problem. It demands a little bit more time, that's all. So, anyway, closing thoughts on all of this. All in all, I would rank the Cleric probably the 2nd or 3rd best class. We'll give it I'm going to give it an S tier, obviously, but I think the community would probably put the Cleric on like an A tier. No, do you know what? No. The Cleric is an S tier. The Cleric is an S tier. It is a great class. For those of you that are thinking, what class do I choose? I implore you to choose Cleric. It's just that good. And on that note, thank you very much, everybody, for watching the video. I will be back again soon with another one. I've still got some Dark and Darker footage to use. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out for now, guys.